Hello, welcome to another video, and I'm just going to play this melody for you and show you some compression and EQ together, just to give you a better understanding really. So here we go. Okay, so we hit a few bum notes in there. Feel free to use these chord structures or to develop your own chords. There's some quite nice effects in there. Right, we'll use that. So now what we've got here is if we expand all of this so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to use FabFilter Pro Q here. We're just going to whack on the pre-EQ. And I kind of want that section there. And we're just going to boost around the 2k hertz. It's more around 3, to be honest, is where it's sounding alright for me. And just a little boost there and just a little bit taken from there. That's just simple and just a bit of crispiness. Okay, so it's all about the compression. So if we look at FabFilter here, and what we'll do is we'll turn all these units down. So there's no compression being applied at all, and we can see that by this middle bar, there's nothing happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim for -6 there. So because it's kind of a soft melody, I'm going to chuck it up to about 1.5 milliseconds, and because there's a lot of tail on it, chuck the release up so the compress takes longer to return to its normal state, so it doesn't sound obvious, which is what a lot of people can struggle with. I know I did when I was still learning things like this. So we're going to look at these two now, the threshold and ratio. We're not going to bother with the knee. We've got soft knee because it's kind of a soft melody and we want the compression to be kind of more transparent than obvious with the knee. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a ratio of 2 to 0. Well, 2 to 1 should we say. Right, so that's around 2 to 1. And then if I just show you the extremes of this, if I turn the threshold up, you can see it's chopping these peaks, it's forcing them back down. But at the same time, it's also raising, it's bringing it down to keep these lower peaks more defined, the ones that get buried in the larger peaks, the louder sounds. So the threshold is literally just the roof, which is that red line, that is the roof. If they start to go over that roof, this is where you get this real dipping. So what we're going to aim for, really, with a melody, especially of this type in trance, is around -4 to -6. So let's turn it all the way down. And we'll just turn it up gradually. And it's a lot by ear as well. Okay, so you can see it's starting to work now. So we're going to aim for around 4 there. And it controls it. Now, I don't know if you can hear, there's a lot of definition in there. Especially listen to the delay in there. If we just turn this off. It's very flat. It's literally flatlining like it is on there. There's no life in there. As soon as you put it back on, it helps everything become more defined, and that is just, it's so gentle, so minimal. If we turn this release down to 0, or 50 milliseconds, you can hear it returning very quickly to its original volume, and that is what I'm trying to not do. So I'm just going to leave it around there. So this is your roof. This is how it's going to compress. So 2 to 1 is essentially every 2 decibels is compressed down 1 decibel. It's reduced by 1 decibel. And obviously the higher you go, the more extreme. Different things call for different ratios. But usually you'd be working probably 2 to 1. Around that area, a bit above and a bit below. There's only certain things that you'd use others for. And that is pretty much it. I'm not going to go into all these features, this is side chaining, but that's basic compression right there. and there's not much else to it. That is how simple it is. You've just got to do it by ear and make sure it doesn't sound wrong. It sounds fluid. It's got that movement to it, and it doesn't hinder that movement. It doesn't sound obvious that you've squashed that sound down. So it keeps it sounding natural at the same time. And one more, just a side note, I have a lot of questions that come in saying, how do you compress a synth from being quiet like this to being fully, like full frequency, so like this here. So obviously it's got different properties that enter the equation, and the simple thing is, what I do there is I'll either increase the ratio slightly to compensate for the loudness, or I'll just increase the threshold. So as it gets louder, I'll just automate that to chuck to about there. So it's doing a -6 to -8. And it just helps to control it. So if you automate it with it, it should help control the track better. And that's it, that's all I have. If you want to use that melody and adapt it, please feel free. I'm not one of these ones that say, oh, I'm going to sue your ass. Melodies are out there for everybody to use. You can't really copyright stuff like these. They're just chord sequences, so go for it. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.